Hello everybody and welcome to Books Up Close. I hope you're doing well and staying healthy over this festive season. This is my year in review. I hope this video isn't too long because I've got loads of recommendations. I'm going to fly through them as quickly as I can. But before I do that, just a reminder to like, comment and subscribe if you like this video. Comment below what your favourite books and other cultural things were this year. Please tell me what you've been reading and watching and listening to. I'd love to hear about it. As ever, you can find all the links below to the bookshop affiliated store, information about that in the description below. And you can also find me on TikTok now because, you know, I'm still 21 and trying to do short little videos which will hopefully supplement the regular reviews. So my year in review is going to go through books, then TV, then podcast, then music. I'm leaving out films because I don't think I watched many brand new films this year. I can't remember going to the cinema. If I did, I don't remember it. So I'm going to leave that for other people to do, but I do have other film recommendations, but they definitely weren't from 2022. And that is one of the themes actually in the category of books, is I don't really see in my list many fiction books that I loved. Most of my list is non-fiction. Maybe I'm just a non-fiction person these days, but all of the great books that I thought came out this year were all non-fiction. So that's something to note from my perspective. But maybe there were novels I missed. To be honest, I'm not always buying fiction in hardback straight away. Whereas non-fiction, sometimes I don't mind because I know more, I think, what I'm going to get from non-fiction. Maybe that's a mistaken idea. But anyway, I'm going to run through my top books of this year, 2022. First up, I need to talk about the wonderful Annie Ernaux, who won the Nobel Prize this year for literature, which is really exciting, really lovely that an author like that won it for such interesting body of work, like a really properly French oeuvre, right? Like, you know it's her when you open one of her books. And Getting Lost was translated into English this year, and that came out with Fitzcarraldo. Really brilliant non-fiction book, which is ostensibly the diary that she kept while she was having an affair with a married man that then got turned into the novel Simple Passion. Although, to talk about the boundaries between these two books, I think is part of her interesting kind of aesthetic, right? Simple Passion, you could call a novel, yes, but it was clearly auto-fictional, right? And similarly, these diaries, I have no idea how much of this is true or whether it is her real diary or whether she's fictionalizing still. And I think that's part of the playfulness of her work, but it's so raw, so incredibly precise in its language and feeling. Highly recommend. Then there was Elaine Castillo's book How to Read Now, which I thought was an incredible takedown of the modern literary establishment, of the ways in which certain kinds of violence get baked into literature, how racism, sexism, homophobia, transphobia, ableism, classism, all the things get really baked into certain canonical writers who we just kind of overlook. Castillo is so smart, so clever, and so cutting, but also the book is really funny. Like, she's really good at writing. So when she's writing about reading practices and writing, you just kind of go along with it. In particular, her critique of Joan Didion has made me look at Didion in a whole other way. I haven't even picked up Didion since, which is rare for me because I always turn to her sentences when I need inspiration. So I definitely recommend that book. By the way, my cat is wandering around beneath my feet and now on the table. So if you hear noises, it's him being weird. I'm not re-recording this. And then finally, two memoirs. One is the incredible Cells, Memories for My Mother by Gavin McRae, which was an astounding book. It's memoir about his life growing up in Dublin, and a brother who's really troubled, and a father who commits suicide, and his own experiences of homophobia in where he lived. But then alongside that, the central time frame is during the COVID lockdown, when he moved back in with his aging mother, who is slowly kind of losing her memory. And he weaves all these things together so incredibly. It's about the body, it's about feeling, it's about the past and family and what we owe to each other is really good. The cell image is great, right? It spins out from the cell of his bedroom to the house, to the cells in his body, to the cells that we put ourselves in psychologically is really good. Then the other memoir that I have to recommend is by Sean Hewitt, who I'm just going to put an aside here, is a friend, so I don't want this to seem like it's favoritism in any way, but I would recommend this whether I knew him or not. It is absolutely wonderful. All Down Darkness Wide is definitely one of my books of the year. I cried every other page. It is so beautifully written, so tenderly written, again about loss and heartbreak and memory and the power of literature in various ways. I highly recommend it. If you're not a big nonfiction or memoir person, you will love this book anyway, I promise you. The writing is so precise as it is. And poetic. Sean is a poet, but the way the language works in this book is really thoughtful. So, huge recommendation from me. Okay, on to TV. I'll be quicker with TV because you don't need these recommendations from me. You've probably already seen them. Huge recommendation for The White Lotus season 2. I love season 1. This one was also great. Brilliant performances. Jennifer Coolidge alone. Just give her all the awards right now. Another recommendation is the final season of The Good Fight, which, if you loved The Good Wife, which I did, I think The Good Fight was a really good kind of companion piece to that original show, and it addressed lots of the issues of that original show, especially in terms of the way it handled race. And I think The Good Fight was just so well done. It swerves from the angry to the absurd to the comic within one scene. And the final season in particular is astounding. The last episode, I was gasping multiple times. Alongside that, the second season of Abbott Elementary, you don't really need me to recommend that, as well as Rutherford Falls, which you might not have seen, which is a great show about indigeneity and whiteness in the US, and again, what we do with the past and how we understand culture. Really, really, really good. As well as the final season of Dead to Me. I loved Dead to Me. I thought it was really great. And that final season was no different. Funny, wry, but also really emotional by the end too. And then finally, I'm going to recommend Big Mouth, which if you don't watch it because it's animated or whatever reason, please do. It is so, so funny. It is so smart. And it's also so progressive and thoughtful in its understanding of sex and adolescence and being a teenager and all the things. Highly recommend. It's a really good season. In terms of podcasts, I am a podcast fiend, though that means I have like 90 episodes backed up. So I'm hoping to get through some of those over the Christmas break. I would recommend a brand new show that just came out called Every Native Episode, presented by Howie Echohawk, which is basically two Indigenous people sitting down to talk about the native episodes of kind of famous American TV shows like Star Trek, like Buffy and other things. And they just kind of go through that native episode of each show and kind of talk about its strengths and its weaknesses, mainly its weaknesses because, you know, American television. But it's really funny, thoughtful. Yeah, highly recommend. Please do subscribe to that one. Also would recommend the new season of Gender Reveal. It's been going on for a while now, but a really great show presented by Tuck Woodstock and thinks through gender in all of its complexity and nuance, but done with humour, done with a real sensitivity. Highly recommend. I love every episode. Also, a little recommendation for Will Be Wild, which is a show about the January 6th uprising and takeover of the Capitol building. It was really a great show about that hideous episode in US history. And then finally, two shows that have been on for a while. Heavyweight, which still is incredible, still makes me sob. And Busy Being Black, presented by Josh Rivers. Really, really great show about blackness and being in the world. A recent episode with Chandra Prescott Weinstein about the sky, about the future, about Star Trek, about all things space is really, really good. A wonderful episode. And then finally, some music recommendations from me. Obviously, I'm going to mention Beyonce's album Renaissance, or Renaissance, depending on where you are in the world. It is astounding. You all know this anyway. There's no point me giving you a further recommendation. Though, I do want to hear what your favourite song on that album is. I have a few. I think Pure Honey is near perfection in a song. It's in two halves. It melds multiple genres together. It's all the things. I love it. But obviously Alien Superstar, Summer Renaissance, basically all the songs, but it's really good. Let me know what your favourites are below. I also want to recommend Maren Morris's album Humble Quest. Really great country pop album. I knew of her but wasn't super into her, but then I listened to this album, loved it, especially that opening track, Circles Around This Town, really good. And then got into her back catalogue really quickly. And she's really great, really beautiful, clear voice, and really thoughtful songs, really funny songs too, actually. Then I want to recommend Robert Glasper's album, Black Radio 3. Black Radio 1 and 2 are also very, very good, obviously, because it's Robert Glasper. But this album is fantastic, and go for the extended edition if you can find it. It should be on Spotify. It's the kind of the red cover rather than the black cover, and the extended one has some extra songs on there. I highly, highly recommend. The songs with Yeba on it and the two with India Ari on it. Really staggering album. So much depth, so many layers, so many kinds of kind of styles on there. Like, it's jazz, but it's soul, but it's gospel, but it's hip hop, it's all the things. I would recommend Taylor Swift, but I didn't really love that album. I'm sorry, it was sleepy to me. I know it's called Midnights, but I wasn't into it as much as I'd hoped. Though Antihero is a really good song, obviously, but you know, she's never going to beat style, and that's all I've got to say on that matter. No Swifties in the comments below, please. And finally, while Jasmine Sullivan's album Hotels came out last year, I'm still listening to it on repeat because it is so good, but I would recommend some of the other kind of songs that she's released this year attached to other projects. So on the album for the Elvis film, the terrible Baz Luhrmann film, she sings Sometimes I Feel Like a Mother's Child, which is so staggeringly good. You'll have to listen to it 3 times in a row just to hear all of the things she does vocally on it. Incredible, soulful, dark gospel. She then sings Round Midnight on the new Adam Blackstone album, which is incredible. Like, her voice on that is just beyond words. And you can compare it with the version she did like way back when, kind of early in her career. You can find that on YouTube and listen to the way that her voice has changed and developed and deepened. It's so good. And then one of my favourites, she's got a song on the soundtrack for the new Till film about Emmett Till and his mother. It's called Stand Up. And usually I'm not a big fan of those kind of like rousing songs attached to blockbuster films like that, but it's incredible. And she's so restrained on it. This is Jasmine Sullivan. She doesn't go wild until right near the end. And there is a thing she does with her voice where she kind of extends this note. I fully shrieked the first time I heard it. I didn't know what to do, so I just listened to it again and again and again. The rhythm, the beat, just the whole song is perfect. You have to listen to it right now. Okay, so that's my whistle top tour of 2022. Again, let me know what you've been reading and watching and listening to in the comments below. I'd love to hear about that. As ever, everything, all the books I mentioned are on the Bookshop affiliated store, which you can buy, and if you buy them from there, I might get proceeds. I'm still not sure how it works, but it's all in the information below. Until the new year in 2023. That's terrifying. Thank you for watching. Thank you for sticking this far through the video. Recommend this to people. And yeah, look after yourselves over the holidays. Stay warm, stay healthy, stay well, read lots, and I'll see you soon.